To find the midpoint between two numbers, x1 and x2, actually add them together and divide by 2. And I'll show you at the end where that actually comes from, but it's a fact worth knowing. Sometimes it's easy to see, say, 7 and 11. Okay, the middle number is going to be 9. But sometimes it'll be harder, such as here. And then you can see, just do 7 plus 11 over 2, which again gives 9. So over here, I've got 4/5, and I'm going to add minus 2/3, and then I'm going to divide by 2. I'll put the divide by 2 in a minute, though. Let's put it over a common denominator, so it becomes 12 over 15. 15 will be the common denominator. And then times this one through by 5, so minus 10 over 15, which gives 2 over 15. Then if I divide by 2, I can just divide the top by 2 essentially, or times by a half, which cancels the 2 out in either case, leaving my answer of 1/15. I did say I was going to talk about where this formula comes from. Okay, so let's say we've got a number line, and here is 0. I'm just going to do it when x1 and x2 are positive, but the argument still applies when it's negative. Okay, we want to find the middle here. So the middle is actually going to be, we're going to have to get to x1 and then add on a half of the difference between this. So this distance here, we want to go half of that distance to get to the middle. So it'll be a half of x2 minus x1. And if you expand the bracket, we get x1 plus a half x2 minus a half x1. Well, x1 minus a half x1 is just a half x1. And then we're adding on a half x2. We can factorize out the half, x1 plus x2, which is exactly the same as x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So that's a nice little proof. And it works for coordinates. You just do y1 plus y2 over 2 as well. And the nice thing about this argument is if you wanted to find the point that's 1/3 between them, you could, it's not, you don't just do x1 plus x2 divided by 3. It only works in this special case when you divide by 2. But you could apply the very similar argument to this with just a third in place and see what happens. Anyway, that's a little proof of it. It's well worth knowing, well, essential to know, I'd say. Well done.